I can't take any more scares.
The Vikings came back from a 20-0 deficit. You know what this reminds me of was 27 years ago. It was Denny Green's first year as coach. The Bears were leading the Vikings 20-0. Jim Harbaugh calls an audible, throws a pick six to Todd Scott. Mike Ditka goes ballistic. And the Vikings came back, scored 2 more touchdowns, won 21-20. After the game, Mike Ditka just went to town on his gum.
Sometimes we get too smart for our own selves, and when the player knows more than the coach, you have a problem. So that's part of life, I guess.
Difference though in that game was that once the momentum shifted in the Vikings' favor, they just blew the doors off the Bears. It was just game over. The game against the Broncos this past week, it's like the momentum never clearly shifted. And the Vikings continued to screw up and try to give the game away in any number of ways. It's just Kirk Cousins put up enough points. 4 touchdowns in the second half, so that they just, in the end, couldn't lose. At the end of the game, I was watching it and, expecting them to throw at Xavier Rhodes. Throw it at Rhodes! Because he was so horrible in this game. As bad or worse than he's ever been.
Blocked by Wilkinson at the right tackle for Sutton in the end zone. May have been, there goes the flag, it's on Rhodes.
And they just refused to throw at him. And I was actually saying, throw it at Rhodes, throw it at Rhodes, throw it at Rhodes. Throw it at Rhodes! You know why? I figured eventually they're going to throw it at him. And when they do throw at him, they're going to score. I'd rather them score quickly and leave time on the clock so we can come back. Sandejo, you idiot! Thankfully they didn't throw at him because they're idiots, but... There was that 3rd and 13, I think it was on the last drive. It was like they just dumped it off to the running back and just, it's literally like, okay, he should be cut right there. Just cut him. Just send him home. He's done. That is just a disgrace. But it was obvious the Vikings went into this game the way they went into the Washington game. Mike Zimmer approached this game like, well, so we're just going to play it as safe and vanilla as possible, and we'll just win because they're just going to let us win. I was pretty easy on the Vikings after that Washington game, because they won and it was a Thursday night game, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to criticize them too much because after that Washington game, I'm like, never ever play like that again. Never call a game like that, all vanilla like that. Zimmer acknowledges we're not going to call plays like this against anybody else. That's fine. You're an offensive team, you got to score, and Mike Zimmer doesn't get it, Just look at the first frickin' offensive drive of the frickin' game. And the Vikings start every frickin' game with a run on first down and then a quick short pass on second down that has 0 chance of getting a first down, so they always guarantee they will get to 3rd down on their first set of downs of every game. And that's why they get a lot of 3 and outs on their first set of downs, because they don't even try to get a first down until 3rd down. And what do? Okay, they threw the short pass to CJ frickin' Ham on second down, and then they hand off to CJ frickin' Ham on 3rd down. 3 and out. 3 and frickin' out. The second half, they decided, we'll try to score. And what happened? 4 touchdowns. They just freaking blew through the Broncos. The Broncos have a good defense. 4 touchdowns in the second half. They would have had more. They would have had 5 or 6 touchdowns if their defense could ever get off the field. If freaking Eric Wilson doesn't jump off sides on a freaking punt. But now you can see the real issue with Mike Zimmer. This happens at least once every year where the Vikings just don't frickin' show up in a game. 2015, the Seahawks. Yeah. 2015, the Seahawks. 2016, the Colts. 2017, the Eagles.
Out of the backfield.
2018, the Bills.
Anthony Barr wants no part of Josh Allen.
And the Bears.
This is the most meaningful game for the Vikings, and right now this defense really hasn't shown up. 2019, the Broncos.
Anthony Barr wants no part of Josh Allen.
They won in spite of Mike Zimmer. We're going to come out and run the ball, because that's what Mike Zimmer likes to do. Rich Gannon's calling. It's like they got 8 men in the box.
Well, you're going to have extra defenders down around the line of scrimmage. The Vikings are going to have to find a way to beat some 8-man front football.
They're ganging up to stop the run. So what do the Vikings do? Well, let's run. Let's run into that brick wall rather than throw to wide open receivers down the field. Rich Gannon, what an idiot.
That's why it's important they don't abandon the game plan. I think you have to continue to run the football. You look at this offense, I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolute moron. He's just like, oh, you can't stop doing what you're doing. And so I'm just getting really sick of this. Mike Zimmer, I want to run the ball. I don't care if I win as long as I can run the ball. Yeah, they're 8-3. They're going to go to the playoffs. But you can't reach that next level with Mike Zimmer. Granted, it's not all Mike Zimmer. Part of it is a pervasive and unbelievably massive lack of leadership on this team. No leadership, particularly on defense, no leadership. When Everson Griffin's one of your captains.
Legal use of the hands to the face. Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
3-time Pro Bowler Everson Griffin.
You got no leadership there. Kirk Cousins deserves all the credit he's getting for this win. He deserves credit for the Chiefs game that they lost when he led the team to 2 important touchdowns in the second half to give them leads and the defense squandered. He wasn't the reason they weren't scoring in the first half either. He had a big pass to Diggs that got negated by what I thought was a pretty bogus holding call on Reef, I think. And the offensive line couldn't block at all in the first half. No running game at all. And it wasn't like the Broncos defense just laid down in the second half. I mean, the Vikings, they had to convert a couple 4th downs in that second half to keep drives going. The offensive line still was getting run over at certain times. Cousins had to make a couple great 3rd down throws. So it wasn't that easy even in the second half, but they got it done. And one example of kind of how hard the Vikings had to work, there was a screen pass to Cook in the 4th quarter near the red zone. And Cook caught the ball, and he must have broken 3 tackles. Usually when Cook breaks all those tackles, he gets like 20, 30 yards. This play, he got 9 yards. He broke all these tackles for 9 yards because the Broncos defense was pretty tough because they were ganged up to stop him. And the Vikings had to work very hard to get what they got unless they threw way downfield, which they hardly ever did until near the end of the game. And then, hey, what do you know? This works. You know what? It's really hard to defend the pass. That's part of why the Vikings struggle with it, because it's hard to do. If you want to stop somebody's run game, you can gang up and stop it. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. Gang up, you decide to stop him, you can do it. If you want to stop the passing game, good luck. You better be good, or you can't do it. And that's how you put pressure on a defense, by throwing downfield. And that's what you want to do. You want to put pressure on a defense. But no, let's run the frickin' ball at the frickin' middle and dump off to frickin' C.J. Ham. And that'll really scare the defense. What is with our defensive backs? Can somebody explain this to me? They can be glued to a receiver. Glued. Right there, right there, right there. They can look at the ball. They can put their hand up, yet never once ever make contact with the ball. Never once break up a pass. Never, ever, ever. What is wrong with these idiots? They're 8-3. They're probably going to be 10-4 going into that Green Bay game. So that'll make it really exciting. It might be ugly in that game. But hey, they can somehow decide to show up for that game, unlike, first half of the Denver game. Maybe they have a chance. So our awards for this week, the Jason Garrett Award for stupid offensive play calling at the end of the game that loses your team the game. That goes to the Broncos head coach. Don't know his name, not going to look it up. They threw at Xavier Rhodes quite a bit during the game.
Brandon Allen. Good block by Wilkinson going deep, and he's got Sutton downfield. He beats Rhodes once again.
Every time the Vikings got some momentum, they'd throw at Xavier Rhodes and get the momentum right back.
Holding, defense, number 29.
Yet on that final drive, once they got kind of near the red zone and into the red zone, they just didn't throw at Rhodes. I don't get it. The fan of an opposing team who went into shock at the Vikings' ineptitude, that was this Broncos fan. I can't remember when this was. This was I think when it was 20-0. Things were looking just unbelievably bad for the Vikings, and he's just sitting there like, Xavier Rhodes is an all-pro, right? He can't be this bad. The most predictable play call of the day, so that's a toss-up. There was a 2nd and 20 in I think the second quarter the Vikings had, where they called a draw play.
2nd down 20. Good draw. It's a Cook with a hand block and not much there. You see the pile of bodies, 27. They only pick up a yard at the bottom. Was the cornerback Duke Dawson for Denver.
And out comes the Boo Bird.
Knew that was coming. And then right after that draw play, they got a massive 1 yard. It was 3rd and 19.
3rd and 19. They need the 46. And here comes Cousins. And there goes out to Abdul. There's a block out there by Treadwell. And out of bounds he goes. Hit by Simmons. The boos cascade down. Gain of 5. Well shy of the first down.
Smithies, are they booing me?
No, they're saying Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
Are you saying boo or boo earns?
I'm going to give it to the 2nd and 20 draw play, which everybody saw coming a mile away. The most predictable decision of the day, that was, I can't remember, I think it might have been the 2nd quarter. Broncos defender jumps off sides. Free play. Cousins dumps it off to C.J. Ham. So as much as I defend Kirk, he does some things that just make you scratch your head, right? Sliding short of the first down on 3rd and 6. Having really no feel in the pocket for where pressure's coming from. Always dumping it off to the fullback when you have a free play. It's just, what color's the sky in your world, Kirk? But hey, 4 touchdowns in the second half. I just hope the Chargers game and the Lions game isn't this stressful.
I can't take any more scares.
I just need some low stress wins. Let's get to 10 wins without a lot of drama. You're going to lose at Seattle. I'm fine with that. They're a good team. It's a tough place to play. Let's get to 10 and 4 going into the Packers game. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's see how Kirk does in the playoffs. Let's see how Mike Zimmer coaches in the playoffs. Let's all just be happy for another week. Bye week.
Bye.